Hi class, so this week we will learn a new chapter on Kingdom of Animal, which is invertebrate, in which we're gonna look on the origins of animals, general characteristics of animal, and also the variation in animals. But we will only learn about the phylum of Porifera, Cnidaria, and also Platyhelminthes. So, in this chapter, first, we're going to look on the origins of animal, in which many biologists agree that animal evolved from a protists, which is about 900 million years ago, and it is hypothesized that animal may also originate from different lineage, and this lineage descended from more than one group of protist-like ancestors. So the first, the protist-like ancestor, um, in which the animals is originated is cynoflagellates. And cynoflagellates is a group of protists that are suspension that do have a suspension feeder, as you can see over here, and possess a collar cell. This one is known as a collar cell. Next is they also originate from unicellular ciliates protists, which is such as a paramecium, in which that possess two types of nucleus, micro and also macronucleus. Third is animals might be originated from spherical colonies, such as a volvo colony that become mutated, and maybe they are originated from placozoan tricomplex adherents that is a plate shape, as you can see over here, and they have two-layer animal with no asymmetry and also no organ. And next, we're gonna look on the general characteristics of animal, in which the first one is that animals are multicellular eukaryotes, meaning to say they have a true nucleus and they do contain membrane-bound organelles and also with tissue that arrange in organs and also organ systems. The body cells of nearly all species of animals has a diploid chromosome number. Next is that animals are heterotropics, meaning to say that they obtain carbon compound and energy by ingesting other animals or they absorb nutrients from them. And also animals do respire like human, in which they require oxygen for aerobic respiration. Animals also can reproduce sexually and also in some cases asexually or both sexually and asexually. And also most of animals are mortal during at least part of their life, and their life cycle also include a period of embryonic development. So briefly, a mitotic cell division, as you can see here, it will form an animal zygote into a multi-cell embryo, in which this embryonic cell later will give rise to the primary tissue layer, such as the ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm, which later will transform into tissues and also organs. So animals also are varied among each other based on their body plans, in which the comparison between the similarities and differences of animal can be made using six basic features that involve variation in body plan, in which the first one is the backbone, second one is body symmetry and cephalization, the third one is type of gut, body tissue, the fifth one is cellum, and last but not least is segmentation. But we're gonna look on the first variation in animals' body plans, which is the backbone, in which the existence of the backbone um, in animals known as vertebrates, in which meanwhile the animals that do not have a backbone are known as invertebrates. Next is body symmetry and cephalizations. So Animals with radial symmetry, as you can see over here, radial symmetry, they have body parts that will arrange regularly around a central axis. This is the central axis, and they have the same shape around the central axis. Meanwhile, for Hydra, also with radial symmetry, a cut at the center, okay, will divide it into equal half, and any other cut will divide them into equal quarters. So the radial animals mostly live in water because their body plan is adapted to receive food drifting and also the food swimming towards them from any direction. And some animals also, they are bilateral symmetrical, not only radial symmetry. So animal with bilateral symmetry have the body axis that passing an anterior end, which is in the front, and also to a posterior end at the back. They are separated through by this bilateral symmetry, and the body is separated into the right and also the left side along this main axis, and there has a dorsal surface, which is the back side, and also the ventral surface, which is the underside. So this type of animals have a tendency to move their head first through the environment. Next, this one also, animal with bilateral symmetry, and there is an addition to their evolution that known as cephalization. So cephalization we can define as an animals that having a concentration of a nervous system and a feeding features at the head end, as you can see over here, okay, such as a planaria. And next, variations in body plans based on the type of the gut. Gut is referred to the place where food is digested, and some animals have sac-like gut with one opening only, such as this one and this one, the earthworm. And in it, the food will later digested and then absorbed into the internal environment. So a tubular gut is a complete digestive tract with two openings such as the earthworm, the mouth, and also the anus for continuous food processing, often through specialized regions to digest, to absorb, to store, and also to get rid of the material. And the body tissues, so most of the animals are triboplastic, and some animals also are diploplastic. So if the animals are diploplastics, meaning to say they possess two germ layer, but most of the animals are tripoblastic, meaning to say they possess three germ layer, such as the ectoderm, mesoderm, and also endoderm. For diploplastic, they do not have mesoderm. So what is ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm? Ectoderm is the outer germ layer that will give rise to the skin and also the nervous tissue. Meanwhile, for the mesoderm is a germ layer that will give rise to most other body structure, such as the muscle, our skeletal structure, and also our circulatory system. Meanwhile, endoderm will form a layer or lining of a digestive tube and also other digestive structure. So next is a xylem. So tripoplastic animal can be classified based on the presence and the type of the body cavity as a xylem. So animal actually have three types of xylem. Either they do have a xylem, or they do have false xylem, which is known as pseudoxylem, and some animals do not have a xylem at all, which is known as a xylomate. So what is xylem? So xylem is actually known also as a body cavity, in which it is a fluid filled space between the gut and also the body wall of most bilateral animal. As you can see here, this is the xylem or the body cavity that you can find between these two mesoderm. Okay. So a xylem, which is lined with peritoneum in human, is a tissue lining located at the space between the gut and also the body wall. So this tissue lining helps to hold our important organ in place, and also it will help to allow the internal organ to expand, to give them space to expand, such as our lungs, and also to helps our important organ to operate freely. So animals with xylem, as I mentioned earlier, are known as coelomate animals. Okay, as you can see over here, the body cavity or the xylem, you can see between here. Okay, between the important organ in our system, such as in human, a coelomate animals. So meanwhile, some animals do have a false xylem, which is known as pseudoxylem, which are not lined with a peritoneum. Therefore, the pseudoxylem is an internal space with a direct contact with the wall of the digestive tract, or a gut. Okay, as you can see here, this is the gut, and this is the internal organ, and this is the mesoderm, in which the gut is directly contact with the wall of the digestive tract. Okay, so some also animals such as the flatworms do not have xylem, which is known as a coelomate animal. Therefore, they lack of body cavity or xylem. Instead, their tissue will fill the region between the gut and also the body walls. As you can see here, between the mesoderm and also the gut, there is a tissue, but there is no cavity between the gut and also the epidermis or mesoderm. Last but not least is segmentation. So a segmented animal is composed of repeating body units that may or may not be similar to one another. So as an example is the earthworm, which possess similar repeated body units, and the segments may be grouped and modified for specialized tasks, as for example in insects. Okay, so next we're gonna look on the animal kingdom phyla. The first three animal kingdom are Porifera, Cynadria, and also Platyhelminthes.